Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my show. It's the show where I talk about, discuss and rate superpowers and their users. As for today, I will be talking about White and his ability to devour souls from the show Tower of God. So what is Devour? Devour is an ability that allows the user to eat souls and power up. And who is White? White is a former slayer from an organization that's called FUG or FUG. And he is also a member of the Arya family, one of the 10 great families. And if you didn't get anything from what I just said, don't worry, I got you. So the events of Tower of God happens in an enormous tower, and in that tower lives a lot of people, and from among those people there are 10 great families that are considered the strongest, and they are strong for many reasons. One of them is because that every single one of those families is led by an individual that is extremely powerful and also immortal. And since they are called families, of course every single one of their members is gonna be an offspring of their leaders. Anyway, within the family, members are classified as one of two things, either direct children or indirect children of the leader, obviously. There is a difference between the two, and more on that later. And now let me explain FUG or FUG for you. FUG is an organization in the tower that opposes the king. Depends on what side you are. The king can be either good or bad. And FUG got a lot of members. However, the most important positions in the ranks are slayer candidates, slayers, and elders. One thing I found very interesting about FUG is that members do have a lot of conflict amongst each other. However, some seems to be getting along really well. It seems like all the relationships in there are mostly like personal, if you want to call it that. It's on an individual to individual basis. And now I just want to say that this video will cover the whole ability perspective from the show. However, there will be spoilers, so you've been warned. So now let's talk about the ability Devour. You see, this ability is very unique because it starts off from a spell, and that spell requires you to bring 5 different people and merge them together to create one individual that is capable of eating souls from people they killed and people that died around them. The method of eating the souls is still very unclear. However, we do know that the range of the ability is very huge. Also, the ability allows the user to heal souls, to keep a very healthy conscience. But what happens to the souls after they are eaten? You see, we've had 2 characters with multiple souls within them, so we kind of have somewhat of a clear indication as to what those souls do. So it looks like there are 2 different methods. The first one is by keeping the souls within the user, and by doing that the user's overall strength increases. The second method is by burning the souls, and that just allows the user to use much more stronger skills and abilities. However, with burning, it's still not very clear if the souls fade away, means they are used like fuel and that's it, or they just get weakened and recharged later just like mana. Overall, what they do is just increase the overall strength of the user's abilities, meaning if the user's ability give them speed, healing, or whatever, they just make it much better. And now for my personal opinion about it. Well, first of all, if you couldn't tell, the ability is very fucked up, so would be amazing if you can steer clear away from it. The second thing is the amazing range on it, which is perfect. And one thing that is still also very unclear is the time taken to eat souls and such, because in some frames it seemed like as the user was sitting and eating souls that turned like crystals and such, and in other frames it seems like they just devoured it immediately. And my personal theory about that is it depends on the user's strength. The stronger they get, the faster they eat souls. This is the cringy part where I promote for myself and tell you to please subscribe and like if you like the video. And also if you want to see me do this with other characters and superpowers, just comment about them down below. And now let's talk about the user White. So who is White? White is the merged individual from the spell, but let's talk about the ones that White was made of. And the 5 people that White was made of are Hawkwind and his 4 siblings. They are the direct children of Arya Hon, the leader of the Arya family. And since they are direct children, they are born with amazing talent, and they also get access to amazing training since they are born. And you see, those 5 have a goal, and that goal was to surpass their father. But they quickly realized they can't do that on their own, until one day Hawkwind came up to them with the spell. They obviously agreed to merge together to become stronger. However, there is a catch. You see, the way Hawkwind received the spell was through a devil, and that devil made a contract with Hawkwind that in exchange of using the spell and merge the 5 together, Hawkwind will be taking over the new body, which means White is the 5 siblings with Hawkwind taking over. But you see, that was just the birth of the creature. After that, Hawkwind set off and started eating souls, and then joined Fug and ate more souls, committed massacres and genocide, killed the innocent and the evil with no discrimination, until it was estimated that the amount of souls that Hawkwind have eaten is billions. And the saddest part about all this is they are still not as strong as their father. So clearly that method just doesn't work out. Eventually, White met his match and was defeated. After that, White was separated again into 5 and was sealed away. Now let's talk a little bit about his personality. Seeing that he have eaten billions of souls and seeing that backstabbed his siblings, it's easy to say that he got all his screws loose. If they are not falling, honestly, it just makes no difference at this point. And another thing about him is that he does enjoy fights with strong opponents, which could eventually lead him to a very bad situation sometimes. As for the weaker opponents, he just kills them and eat them, and that's it. And another thing to note about him is that he's a snake. If you couldn't tell, backstabbed his siblings and wouldn't mind backstabbing his team, would do anything to benefit himself, basically. And now let's start talking about his skills. The first thing to note is that White is a swordsman, exactly like the majority of his family, because basically they are born with amazing swordsmanship and unique swordplay for their family only. And I think explaining his skills individually is just pointless, because all his skills are basically cool slashes with cool names, just like any other swordsman. But the most interesting part about his ability is the fact that he can make swords. Although he got his own sword, White tends to summon his own swords using his ability, create them using souls. So far he showed only 2 swords, however I think he got much more than that. And those 2 swords are, the first one is called Spinal and it looks like a red blade, and the other one is called Colin, which looks like more of a lightsaber, however it's very long. And now let's talk about White's potential. One thing I've noticed about him is that he only gets stronger by eating souls. That might be a side effect that still has not been mentioned, but I still haven't even seen him train or do anything of the sort. He just goes around and try to eat any soul he gets, which will lead me to say that he will not be able to achieve his goal, and simply because that he's not actually weak. It's because his goal is just very unrealistic at this point, and his father is just too powerful. You see, what I wanted to say was the ability might be a mismatch for the goal, but it seems like that the goal is a mismatch with the whole character to begin with. And finally, to conclude the video, there's not much to say about White and his ability except they are actually very well done together. However, if I have to rate them individually, I will rate the ability as B. It's simply because it's very slow and it needs a lot of building up, and even after all of that, eventually White got defeated in his prime and sealed away eventually. And you see, when we start talking about White, that's when everything gets interesting. You see, in my opinion, White is the driving force of his own ability, which is the ability to eat souls. And if I have to rate him, I will give him an easy A. And it's not S simply because White makes just too many irrational decisions. And yes, I did say that he got defeated in his prime after eating millions of souls, but at the same time, White was the one who ate all those souls without actually going crazy. And that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.